Hi, today we're going to talk about making the letter M and the letter N on the writing lines. At your house, you have writing lines that look like this that you will use with your dry erase marker. Today, I'm going to use my writing lines. We're going to start with the letter N first. Your grown-up has this piece of paper this week that tells you exactly how to make an N on the line, where to start and where to finish. So we're going to take a look at N first. N is a plain line letter. It tells me to point to the plain line, go down to the grass line, trace back up to the plain line, and make a hump. So that's what we're going to practice today. The first time, I'm going to make one on the big side, okay? On this great big side. So I'm going to start at the airplane line just like it told us to do, okay? So I'm going to start at the plane line and I'm going to go down to the grass line just like this. Then I'm going to trace it back up to the airplane line and make a hump and go back down to the grass line. N, nut, I'm going to straighten my line up a little bit because it got a little crooked there. There. N, nut, Now, this next part is very important, okay? Whenever we write letters on a line or numbers on a line, we always put space in between our numbers and our letters. So you're going to hold up your pointer finger, your index finger, and you're going to put that down right beside the N that you made, and you're going to leave what we call a finger space, okay? So your next N will go on the other side of my finger over here so that it's not on top of this N. If we get it too close, we have something that looks like this. And as you can see, it's kind of hard to see where one letter ends and the next one begins. I can't put my finger space between any of these letters, so that is not okay. They are too close. I'm going to erase them, and this time I'm going to model and show you what it looks like to put a finger space in between your letters. Okay, so I'm going to leave a good spacing here. I'll start over here on the other side. So I start at the airplane line again. I go down to the grass line. I trace back up to the plane line, make a hump, and go down to the grass line and stop. N, nut, Now, if you take a look at both of these ends, you'll notice that I can take my finger space, my pointer finger, and put it in between. And that tells me that I've left enough finger space. Okay? Now we're going to try our M. Our M is a lot like our N. Once again, your grown-up has this page that tells them how you're supposed to make an M. An M starts off just like an N. An M is a plain line letter. So an M starts at the plain line, goes down to the grass line, trace back up to the plain line, and make a hump. But you don't stop there because we're not making an N, we're making an M. So you go back up to the plain line and around with another hump, and that's M. So we're going to take a look at M today. All right. I'm going to start at the plain line, okay? And just like I did with my N, I'm going to go down to the grass line, stop at the grass line, trace back up to the plane line and make a hump and go down to the grass line. Now, I don't want to stop there because if I do stop there, that's the letter N. And we're not doing an N right now, we're doing an M. So I'm going to pretend that I didn't pick my marker up. Start back here at the grass line, trace back up to the airplane line again, put another hump on it, and go back down to the grass line. M, man, Now, I'm going to make another M right beside this M, but I have to make sure that I leave space. So I want to make sure that I use my pointer finger and leave what we call a finger space in between all letters and all numbers when I'm writing on a line. So I'm going to leave some space here and go over to the other side and start about here. I start at the plane line. I go down to the grass line, back up to the plane line, put a hump on it, go down to the grass line, but this time I'm not going to stop. I'm going to trace that same line back up to the plane line, over and put on another hump, and go down and stop right here on this grass line. And I've made another M, man, Now, I want you to notice how I stopped with all these lines right here, even with this grass line. I did not go down below the grass line. Let's take a look and see if I can put my finger space in between these two M's. I can. Look at that. I can get a whole finger space in between these two M's, so that tells me that they are not too close together. That is great. Now, I want to show you on your paper. You have two papers this week. You are practicing writing and tracing some N's on your paper. You are practicing tracing and writing some M's on your paper. Okay? Please be reminded, I want you to remember, boys and girls, that we use a pencil, not crayons, for tracing and writing. So the first thing you're going to do on this page is you're going to write your N-A-M-E, your name. So with your pencil, you're going to write your name. You're going to give your pencil a pinch. You're going to set it on your bench. See if I can get it where you can see it. I'll do it again. Give your pencil a pinch. Set it on the bench. Okay? Now, after you trace all of these M's on all three lines, you're ready to write some M's for me on this last line. Now, I want you to notice something on this paper. If I take my finger space and put it in between any of the letters on here, I should be able to get my whole finger space in between. Let's check and see. Yes, everywhere I'm checking, I'm able to get a whole finger space in between the letters. That means they left enough space. Now, when it's time for you to write your M's down here on this bottom line, I want you to remember two things. One, your M's that you write down here need to look exactly like these M's. So yours will need to start at the airplane line. Yours will need to stop on the grass line. That's one. Two, the second thing I want you to remember is when you write your M's down here on this line, I want you to remember to use a finger space in between all of your letters. Okay? I'm going to show you an example of one that I've done. and let's talk about it. Okay, here it is. Here's one that I did. Let me make it closer so you can see it. It's kind of hard to see in the pencil. All right, I'm going to make it nice and close so you can see it. I want you to look at this very last line down here with me. Did you notice that my M's are all over the place? I didn't remember to start on the airplane line on any of these M's. I just kind of started wherever I wanted. So these are not okay. Let's take a look at another example. Let's take a look at this one, and I'll make it nice and close for you. Take a look at this last line down here of M's. Do you see how these are different from these? If you answered yes, you're correct. These M's on this last line all start at the airplane line and all go down to the grass line. And I can take my finger space and put it between every single one of these M's, and I've left enough space. And that is what you're going to do when you write your letters. Let's take a look at our N page. I'm going to show you an example. Here is an example of some N's that I wrote. Look at the bottom of the page. Do you see a problem with my N's? If you answered yes, you're correct. My N's don't have a finger space in between. I cannot take my finger space and put it in between any of these N's. That tells me that they're too close together. So this is not okay. Let's take a look at this last line of N's. Did I remember to start on the airplane line? Yes. Did I remember to go down and touch the grass line with my N's? Yes. Do my N's on this last line here, do they look like the N's up here? If you answered yes, you're correct. They do. Let's check and see if I remembered to use a finger space. Let's look at the N's on this last row down here. I'm going to take my pointer finger and I'm going to put it in between these N's and see if I left space. Let's check a couple more. Oh, look. I did. I left space. My space in between my letters looks just like the space up here in between the dotted letters. And that's exactly what you're going to do. I want you to practice your M's and your N's for me this week. And make sure that you are starting on the airplane line, going all the way down to the grass line, and remembering to use a finger space in between all of your letters. Okay? So make sure you're doing those 3 things, and your grown-up can check it too. All right. Bye-bye.